Love to. First, I want to say thank you to you, Karen, to the Cambridge News and Deerfield Independent, both website, social media, and print. And I'm so glad to be here. I'm sorry I can't join you via video, but I'm very glad to be joining you via audio only. My name is Courtney Reed Jenkins. I am a proud member of the Cambridge community, and I have been honored to serve for the school district for the past 5 years, during a lot of really exciting times for the districts in terms of both growth and in terms of challenge. I have 2 girls who are in the Cambridge schools. I am a proud graduate of public schools, and I'm a 3rd-generation school board member and dedicated educator who has worked for 20 years in education, and I'm honored to serve in the Cambridge School District to share that knowledge that I've gained as an educator with the community and be responsive to the needs of the community, as well as being responsible for the taxpayer dollars that go to fund the education of our 800 plus students and building a community for our 80 plus staff, as well as students, with an eye toward making sure that everyone feels like they belong and can grow and have choices in the district.
Thank you, Courtney. Tara.
Hi, yes, I'd like to echo Courtney's appreciation of Karen pulling this forum together. So for those who may not know me, my name is Tara Vosby. I'm a 4th-generation resident of Cambridge and a 1991 graduate of Cambridge High School. Many of you might recognize my name because of my recent advocacy against efforts for the proposed solar plant that will impact our community. And some of you may know me because we went to school together, or you taught me, or you coached me. And I am currently running for the open seat on the school board because, as a former student and athlete, and now as a parent of students and athletes in the district, I want to make sure that the community and the school that I hold dear continues to thrive and produce well-rounded future citizens of the world.
Adam.
Well, I want to thank you, Karen, for, again, as Tara and our other previous candidate had said, putting all this together and doing what you're doing. I have lived in the Cambridge School District for about a year now. And again, my name's Adam Hebb, and I own a commercial refrigeration business. And I have a huge background in commercial industrial buildings, as well as engineering, bidding, and architectural design. And I have 2 boys that are going to school in Cambridge that are 7 and 9. And, you know, I'd like to keep the community, its roots where they're at, and give back to the children as much as I possibly can, so they have something to feel of growth and strength as they become adults and go out into the world.
Thank you. Angela.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks, Karen, for organizing this. I'm so excited that Cambridge has 4 candidates to choose from. I think we can all bring something different to the table. And I think this is so exciting that there's so many people who want to get involved. So I'm also a 4th-generation Blue Jay. I've got deep roots in the Cambridge community. Now I'm here raising my 3 baby Blue Jays. They're kindergarten, 1st grade, and 3rd grade. I'm running for school board because I believe in Cambridge and all that it can be. It's been a challenging couple of years for all of us, and I'm ready to put the discord aside and move together forward, learn from each other's differences rather than battle each other's differences. We need to move this community forward with our children as the focus, and I promise that if I'm elected, I will do just that. Further, I will be intentional about how and where our taxpayer dollars are spent. I'm understand the nuances of human relations. I've been in the HR field for 15 years. I think that makes me well equipped to navigate complex decision-making processes while representing the members of our community. I care about making every family in Cambridge feel heard and feel welcome. I believe everyone has a place here. Whatever the topic is, I believe with my whole heart that we all want the same thing, and that's what's best for our kids. I'm running for school board because I believe I can bring people together from both sides of the table, all different perspectives of the topic. We can all come together. I'm running for school board because I value and I respect everyone. I'm running for school board because Cambridge is a beautiful community with wonderful people, one who needs open-minded people on the board to represent all opinions and values. Going forward, I feel it's imperative that families are better informed of the decisions made from the school board. I think school board members should be a liaison, in a sense, between the community, between families, and between staff and the school, staff administration and the school, excuse me. I think that there's a lot of great things that we've done. I think there's some really great opportunities as well. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to be considered for the next member of the school board.
Tara, how well has the school board and school administration handled the COVID-19 pandemic? What has been done well and what might have been done better? What actions should the school board now take to best help lead the district out of this crisis?
Sure. Thank you for the question. Honestly, I've been really impressed with how the district has handled the pandemic thus far. I think the district showed strength in unprecedented times and made the best decisions that they could based on science and data, and they complied with all the local and federal guidelines that they were given. As a parent, I felt that there, some additional timely communication could have been helpful at specific times, perhaps even allowing some parents to send in questions and have them answered via district-wide FAQ. That's actually something that we did consistently in my office. I had routine FAQs from staff, and then we would have one of the administrators answer them. I think that would have been helpful and probably could have reduced some of the tensions and just a lot of the tensions and the divides that have occurred in recent years here in the village over this particular the pandemic. And again, I respect the decisions that the board made. With all government decisions, you can never please all of the people all of the time. And I'm a student of government. I work in government. I spent 14 years in the state capitol. If nobody's happy, you did a good job. That's really kind of how, nobody should win 100% of the time. So I respect this and support the difficult decisions that the board has had to make over the past 2 years. And as a parent, I've really felt that their decision making has been thoughtful. And I supported every decision that they made. So I'm not sure that the board actually, in my personal opinion, I don't think that the board is in the best place to lead the district out of a pandemic. So I'm a little confused on that question. I'll be honest. I just don't think that that's the role that the board has to play. That would be how I would answer that, is like, I don't know that, unless Karen, you have a better way to ask that question. I think it's, the way it reads to me is that the district doesn't have any real role in trying to get the community out of a pandemic. So.
Fair enough. Oh, Adam.
Yes. Well, I believe that the board did the best that they could with the knowledge that they had at that point in time. And again, as Tara had commented, I don't really believe that they had any business in that position there, with all the information that we had found beyond that, and with what we have for people in our community that we could have gone to, and as far as trying to find a resolution beyond what all the other schools were doing. I know we had guidelines to follow, but there are also many other options that we could have looked into. I mean, we've got engineers, scientists, doctors, all kinds of people in our community, people that do air quality analysis, people that do air engineering, as far as purifying and what our qualities are that we have to keep, whether it was the pandemic or any other kind of illnesses, down. I think we could have dug a little bit deeper and done a little bit more to come out of this a little bit better, because I do believe that it definitely affected some of the children, as far as their focus, concentration, and when it comes to school, it's we all know as parents, it's hard enough as it is trying to keep them on task. So but yeah, those are my feelings towards it. And it just I don't know, only positive things happen when we work together as a community. So.
All right, thank you. Angela.
Thanks. It's clear that the current board and administration have led with the commitment to keeping in-person instruction. And as a parent, I am exceptionally grateful for that. They achieved that mission, and I'm eternally grateful because of this commitment. I think that kids at CSD will have an advantage in achieving academic success, more so than students who experience virtual school over the course of the last 2 years. It's based on articles and studies that I've read, right? It's becoming a proven fact that virtual school just didn't work. So incredibly thankful that we didn't have to experience that for too long. And that is because of the board and administration's efforts. So they did a phenomenal job with that, and forever grateful. One area in which I think we can improve, and I think this is where I can add a lot of value, is getting families' input, both throughout this pandemic and in other topics going forward. I understand board meetings are open to public. However, there were several times parents who wished to speak got cut off, had no opportunity to speak when we were told there was public comment, or sadly even laughed at by board members when making comments. Parents should be active participants in this conversation, and we could have done better at including family input on decisions made over this pandemic and during this pandemic. I hope we can do more of that going forward. Again, on this topic, while we come out of this, and on other important topics going forward. The hard truth is that there are multiple families who have left our district over the last 2 years, and I've had conversations one-on-one with these families. And the reason they left was consistent. They felt unheard and they felt unwelcome. Those are their words, not mine. The decision made at the February 21st board meeting is hopeful. The decision regarding scaling back some of these protocols, that's promising, right? Hopefully, again, we're on the back end of this. And I hope with my whole heart that we can move forward past this pandemic and focus our efforts on other important issues in our school district.
Courtney.
This was the toughest issue that I faced during my 5 years on the board, and I'm so proud of the board, the administration, and the staff who pulled together and worked during a really tough time in our community to make sure that we kept everyone safe and that we held as our North Star the safety of students and staff and in-person instruction. And we did the best that we could with all the information that we had in real time. We worked hard and absolutely hear and understand the criticism from other candidates regarding the communication and transparency, and did the best we could in terms of making sure that our board meetings were open and available for public comment, whether that was web-based or in person or in written communication during the midst of the global pandemic. And really, we held at the center of our decision-making the fact that we had the safety of 100 plus students and 80 plus staff as our responsibility. And that meant that we had a lot of broad needs that we had to take into consideration. Unlike in our personal families, we had students and staff who were immunocompromised. Some couldn't get vaccinated and still had civil rights protections under special education law. We had staff who were going through significant medical considerations and had real safety concerns about being in spaces with a lot of other folks. And we were really in uncharted territory as we scrolled back 2 years and didn't know what the legal and fiscal ramifications would be of decisions made at the local level of government, and recognized that we owed our taxpayers a responsibility to be conservative as well, so that we wouldn't be facing liability as it relates to lawsuits that were unknown at the time what the outcome would be. So I'm really proud of how we handled it. We came together as a community, which is one of the things that I really appreciate about Cambridge, that I think is one of our strengths, is that we come together. I absolutely, if I could rewind and hit the time reversal button, I would absolutely do more around transparency and communication, both in real time and even now, because I know we are all tired and exhausted and frustrated, and all we want is this pandemic to end and return to normal. And we're not quite there yet. We're facing new decisions with changing regulations, still have uncharted territory in terms of the legal liability and responsibility of local government agencies, and really working hard with administration and legal counsel to know what those boundaries are so that we can honor the investments that our taxpayers make while also balancing our commitment to in-person instruction for our students. The only thing I want to add as a result of this conversation is want to rebut the statement with respect to enrollment. We are holding steady. We offered multiple means of instruction to students. We opened virtual instruction to students who didn't feel comfortable coming back. And we are more than willing to work with individual families about what works best for them within the community of students that we have here in Cambridge.
Thank you, Courtney. Quality academics, of course, are the school district's primary focus, but the school district has also, in recent years, given more attention to social and emotional well-being and physical security of students, addressing issues such as bullying, equity, and inclusion. As a current or prospective school board member, how do you approach these kinds of issues?
I personally feel that the academics need to be the most important thing. That's why the children are in school. You know, when we're looking at, you know, reading, writing, and arithmetic or math, those are the priorities. Obviously, we care from a emotional standpoint about us. We're human. But, you know, as far as, you know, those things go, I think there's been way too many things that have been left on the wayside, you know, as far as kids' demeanors towards one another, the way that they treat the teachers. So many things have changed, and I feel that we need to go back a little bit. You know, back in the 60s and 70s, the way that, you know, a man treated a woman, you know, as far as opening a door, pulling a seat out, those things are lost in time. And I feel that a lot of that needs to come back as far as feeling good about who you are as these children grow and the way that they learn in school. There's just way too much focus on the emotional and social things at hand. And I just personally don't feel that they're as important as everybody else does.
Angela.
Yeah, so I appreciate the focus on SEL, and I believe that we have some amazing teachers, guidance counselors, staff in our district to help guide children through these issues. I've heard so many success stories from parents in the district who've utilized the guidance counselor and other services within the district with huge success. So we are so fortunate to have those. I believe every child has a place in this district and deserves to feel safe in order to learn. I think there's a fine line between raising awareness and helping guide our kids through issues and promoting ideologies. I think that kids need to be taught the importance of acceptance at school. Very importantly, I believe it's critically important to share what's being taught at school with parents and families at home. For a couple of reasons. I believe number one, parents just simply have the right to know what their kids are learning. And number two, if they're aware, they can help reinforce these behaviors at home. I also really believe in the value of mentorship programs, you know, pairing younger kids who are dealing with a particular social issue or emotional issue with an older child who's dealt with the same issue. I think that's pivotal to success in helping the youngsters through these types of issues. So I think as a board member, I would work to further promote parents working together with administration on these types of issues, but I think family involvement is just absolutely critical.
Right. Courtney.
My core values are equity, inclusion, belonging, and I believe that the in our district so that all students feel like they can move into the world as strong and thriving community members. what we know now in education is that the research shows clearly that investments in social emotional learning on behalf of students increases student academic engagement and outcomes, and therefore investing in social emotional learning is a critical piece to a well-rounded investment that districts have for students. We have every year, all students across the state of Wisconsin engage in something called the Youth Risk Behavior Survey, which is a survey that tells the state and then tells districts at the local level how students are doing as it relates to social emotional learning. And we know in Cambridge that we have a ways to go. We have gaps between students, for example, who identify as LGBTQ+. We have gaps for students who identify, for example, as having a disability. And so I'm proud as a current board member that we've invested in a mental health framework and supported the pupil services staff in writing for grants at the state level to continue to grow our students' social emotional ability so that they can engage in the community as thoughtful, well-rounded students. And I'm really proud of our pupil services staff led by Krista, the fact that we have a resource officer and Officer Tony, that we've been able to hire a school psychologist, for example, are some of the things that I'm really proud of as a school board member. And I agree that all parents have the right to know what the curriculum is, whether that's academic or social emotional learning, like our second step curriculum, for example. And that's something that every parent has the right now to find out and support and be a partner with the school in terms of academics and social emotional learning.
Thank you. Tara.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity again. So I guess, first of all, I just want to address that these topics of, equity, inclusion, mental health, they're not issues that are just being addressed at the school district level. These are topics that are being brought up in my own workplace for the past year. And in my workplace, we're working on a workforce plan to incorporate equity and inclusion into our day-to-day work, and thus in an effort to change the entire culture of our workplace. So I certainly appreciate and understand the need for these discussions, especially at, the school district level, not just for staff, but for students. These are important issues. They are societal issues, and they're ones that we need to discuss. And I think the pandemic has really caused, there's a real level of trauma that it has caused for everyone. And openly discussing mental health and equity and inclusion, and providing our students and staff with tools, knowledge, and empathy for others. Those aren't bad things. Especially when our goal is to develop well-rounded students who are prepared to step out into the world. As far as bullying, I've really been impressed with our district's Second Step program, and the tools that it provides to help kids to stay safe. And I also know that the Flight Crew has been a successful mentorship program that both of my kids enjoyed. And just in terms of the bullying aspect, I also had a recent conversation with my own kids, when the masking question, they were going to be recommended, it wouldn't be required anymore. And I had a discussion with them, and I said, some kids are still going to want to wear them, and that's their choice, and you should not be making fun of them or encouraging them to take that off, because that's not an appropriate role. So obviously, as a parent, I'm taking an active role in my kids, and I'm hoping that other parents are doing that as well. I'm assuming that they are, but again, bullying has been an issue that I've heard from a lot of parents that continues to happen. It happened when I was in school. And I think that the school district is currently presenting some good tools for kids to use as they grow older.
What are your areas of concern regarding student achievement? Do you have specific suggestions for improvement? And we are starting with Angela, please.
Thank you. So even though we've been in person for much of the pandemic, I do believe some of the protocols that were put in place have definitely hindered student achievement. This has been a huge concern of mine, and it continues to be. So, I mean, I've spoken to families whose kids are struggling with speech and phonetics, which obviously results in challenges with basic skills like reading and writing. I've also learned of children that suffered from anxiety and depression during the time of online learning, and it hindered their achievement when they returned to in-person instruction. We all know, right, that basic skills, reading, writing, mathematical skills, they must be mastered for a student to advance academically. And children need to feel safe in an environment that they're confident in order to thrive in learning. So I think to resolve this gap, we really need to leverage our interventionists and broaden the criteria to see one of these teachers, perhaps even invest in more of these valuable resources. Interventionists are such a great tool to help with the personalization of learning, which I think is really key to closing the gap. Being in such a small district, we are so fortunate. I know I can speak for the elementary school. We've got 2 interventionists, and they are game changers. So we are so lucky to have those. The interventionist, the teacher, and the family, they should have an active role in setting benchmarks and tracking the progress. I think each student needs the attention and the encouragement that's required to help them perform at the level that they're uniquely capable of reaching. Again, I guess I'm a broken record, but the connection between home and school is really one of the most critical elements in closing that achievement gap, and that personalization of learning and that interventionist. Those are sort of the trifecta, I think, that's really going to help us overcome the issues that we have because of the pandemic, and then just going forward, right? This is always going to be a thing. So I think those are really that's the trio to success.
First of all, I'm so glad that you asked the community, Karen, for questions, because it really gives all of us a pulse on what folks are thinking about as they move into this election season. And I think this is a really critical question, which is, what are our students able to do when they graduate from our public schools, and what do the investments that taxpayers are making result in? And I'm really glad that we have such strong student achievement in Cambridge. We have invested in a range of ways in which students can move to the beat of their own drum, whether that is taking what is in law, the right to go to technical colleges or four-year colleges to take classes if they are in high school and we don't offer a similar curriculum. We have AP classes. We have amazing career and tech ed program that engages students in different ways and prepares them for life after high school. And I'm really proud that we are a wealthy district in the state of Wisconsin, and that we've made our investments really realize outcomes for students. The places I would focus are that we do have gaps, in particular between students who are served on what's called an individualized education plan, or students with special needs, or students who are in special education and their peers. And we also have gaps in particular based on social economic status. So for example, we have about 25 to 30% of our kids are living in families whose incomes qualify them to receive reduced price or free meals through schools, which is a proxy for low income. And students whose families qualify for that are not seeing the same outcomes that we're seeing in other families in the district. And that's a place where we can really lean in and we can do better as the adults who are responsible for the education of kids. We have the information we need to do better, and we have an obligation to all of our students to close those gaps. So that's my attention for the last 5 years. For example, I've been really proud of the fact that for our school-sponsored trips, or trips that are offered through the school that are capstone trips, for example, the 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip, the high school trip for students who are in chorus and band, that we passed a policy as a school board that allows all students, regardless of income status, to be able to go on those schools. And that if students and their families have some skin in the game but don't have all the funds, it's a line item in the budget now that will make sure that every kid can go on those trips. And I'm really proud of that work.
Tara.
Let me unmute myself here. Yeah, thanks for this question and for submitting and letting us have the opportunity to answer all of those. I think I sent mine to you already this afternoon. So, I just want to say, as the daughter of a teacher, I know firsthand the day-to-day challenges that my mother faced. Teaching is a demanding job. And student achievement is in large part the result of having high quality teachers. So, one of the things that I would want to continue to focus on is that the district is ensuring that we are continuing to attract, recruit, and retain high quality teachers that are passionate about their work and ensuring that our students are successful. And if the district and the parents support the teachers, we all support student improvement or student achievement. I apologize. And the district should continue to focus on literacy and math. I know that that's a core expectation for students in our district. And I want to ensure that, the district continues with programs like music. I'm the daughter of a music teacher, music and art, tech ed, ag, including FFA, which my son is currently, as freshman, really enjoying participating in. And ensuring that languages are available to all students, because those are important issues, aspects for creating well-rounded students. And we shouldn't really try to ever give up the spaces. Those spaces for creativity and additional learning in exchange for, offering more AP level courses that not all students are going to benefit from. I agree with Courtney that there's a lot of opportunities for students to participate in college level learning online and through those resources. And I think that that's great. And I'm thankful that we have the opportunity to allow our students to do that. And I also agree with Courtney that there are gaps in areas, especially like with special needs and addressing the socioeconomic needs of some of our students. And I think the community supports all of our students. We support, we are, I've said often during the fight against the solar plant that, Cambridge is a community in the truest sense of the word. And I think we just need to continue to work together to address those gaps.
Thank you. Adam.
Yeah, I would just like to say, all this, we're a family is what we are. All the children are a product of their environment when it comes to school, and they're only as good as the teachers that are teaching them, and in turn, yes, we need to make it a priority to make sure that trades, tech, all that stuff is very important. It's taken such a turn nowadays in our world where we don't have enough people, male, female, whatever the case may be, that are getting into the trades. And so many of those baseline things that we learn growing up, whether it's reading, writing, math, you have to have it. It's so important. It's like one of the most important things, I believe, that you can give a child growing up. Math applies to everything. And, to make it in the world nowadays, that's one of the things that's been there forever. It's never going to go away. Simplify, solid education, is the best place to be in my eyes. And I think that that has gone on the wayside a little bit, and so many other things have come about, and it just it's become a little clouded in my mind. And we need to get back to that. And it really needs to be pushed a lot more. And that's how I feel about it. So that's really all I have to say.
I am asking for your vote. I have the experience, commitment, and time to ensure that the return on taxpayer investments is well-rounded, engaged students who are ready to go into the world as kind, compassionate adults who will make the world a better place. I believe that we're in the middle of the decisions as it relates to the pandemic, that the consequences of the pandemic are yet to be felt in the school district. They are things around mental health for students and staff. There are fiscal ramifications as it relates to investments from the federal government, from the state government, and from our taxpayers. And there are decisions about learning loss that we have to make in light of the pandemic. And I would be honored to continue this work, looking to the knowledge and research and science that folks are leading the way with, and making the decisions in partnership with the administration, with the staff, with families, and with the community to move forward and make the best decisions we can. And I would stand by those decisions that we make as a board. One of the things I appreciate most about being on the board for the last 5 years is the fact that we are making collective decisions, that we represent different perspectives from both the values that we bring as humans, as the place that we have in the community, from our experience in the workforce, from our roles as parents. And it's been such an honor to engage in really difficult conversations with 6 other folks who are equally committed to the well-being of our students and staff and to honoring the taxpayer investments. And I would love to continue that work. I believe that public education is the foundation of our democracy, and I'm proud to have worked in education for my entire career. I love the commitment that Cambridge teachers have to our community and to our kids, and I'm invested in public education. Another highlight of my term as school board member was the fact that we worked with the community to pass an operating referendum to increase our school budget so that we could invest in our kids and their futures. I'm grateful to the Cambridge community for giving me the opportunity to serve for the past 5 years, and I'd be honored to continue this work as a board member. So I hope that you choose Courtney for Cambridge Kids.
Thank you, Courtney. Tara.
Hi, so I'm gonna have to I'm doing this on the fly a little bit here. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to answer these questions. And again, I submitted answers to many of the questions that I think, hoping Karen will run them at some point so you can get a little more information about where I stand. My father was on the school board, and I recall fondly, like he really enjoyed that time. And now, I feel like this is my opportunity to step up and take a leadership role in the community. I think that my passion for this community is without question. I think in the last year and a half, we've seen that. And my passion for the school and the schools districts and the school and the school district are also, without question. I also have been a member of the Cambridge High School Alumni Association for 26 years. I'm on the board. I've organized our annual events. And, the thing that truly strikes me when we engage with those alumni, many of whom are coming to celebrate their 50th reunion and their 40th class reunions, they want to know that the district is continuing to remain strong and be strong and will continue to be successful and have successful, create successful students and those are things that they're passionate about. And that's something that I want to continue. Like as an alumni, I know that my experience, it was positive. I loved it. And I think that my kids are, they're having a good experience too. And I want to make sure that all students have the opportunity to have a well-rounded education and honestly be feel welcomed and appreciated and understood. So, with that said, I support equity inclusion efforts in the district. I support the continued efforts I support, helping and supporting teachers. Again, the pandemic is on, it's not at an end stage yet. And I think that, again, we've all experienced trauma and we need to be able to address and help people get through that trauma as we continue to move out into another phase of life under this pandemic. And I support LGBTQ students 100% with my heart and soul and voice. I've got you. I support students with disabilities 100%. I support the teachers, I support the students. And I think that my experience in government gives me a little better understanding of how, the impacts of current state policies can potentially adversely impact the district, and not just with funding, but with the actual policy decisions that they're making, which are kind of challenging, a little scary, frankly. As a candidate, I think I have to say that, I don't have to have all the right answers. I don't even have to know. I feel like if I don't know something, I'll let you know. If I don't know, I don't know. But you have to have the right intentions, and I do have the right intentions. I want to ensure that my community and my school district continues to thrive, and the school district is the glue for this community. And I think that I know I've said that before in my comments about Kashanan, but truly, this district is one of the best in the state, and I hope that you vote for me so that we can continue to have these difficult discussions. And I will certainly be supportive of the students and the staff in all aspects of their needs. Thanks.
Probably not going to make everybody happy, which, none of us as candidates are. You can't make everybody at one time happy. We do our best, but the bottom line is what we're trying to do here is do what's right for the district and do what's right for our kids and their education, and trying to prep them and get them ready to go out into the world, and give them the confidence where they feel that they can take on the world and have respect, diplomacy, and have some etiquette in life and be proud of who they are. So that's my feeling towards things. And I just want to have an opportunity where no matter how big, how small, I can put my time, my attention towards this and help our children out. I would really love the opportunity. So yeah, thank you. Please vote for me. And it was great being here with all of you guys.
Thank you, Adam. Angela.
Thank you. So thanks again for this, Karen. I think this is really great. I think it gave us all a really great platform to kind of get our voices out there in a respectful, kind manner. So I think this was really helpful and I appreciate it. My future vision for the Cambridge School District is to be a welcoming place where all families are heard and welcome, while offered a safe and supportive learning environment. I believe that happy kids result in successful kids. The more inclusive our district can be, and inclusive in my mind doesn't mean gender, race, sexual orientation. Inclusion in my mind means a variety of opinions and perspectives on topics. And I think the more inclusive our district can be, the happier our kids will be. This starts at home, right? With adults demonstrating respect and acceptance for one another. We can learn from each other's differences rather than fight them. We do need to teach our kids, kindness and compassion at home. If we do this, it's going to carry into how they behave at school. The decisions made by the school board should be free from bias and considerate of input from district families, not on how a board member feels personally about something. I'm excited about the potential of adding a diverse perspective to our current board that will allow us as a district to consider all families, not just like-minded ones. I see this as an exciting opportunity to offer a different point of view to a place and a cause that I care deeply about. And I think a balanced board is a healthy board, and in the end, that benefits us all. So that's why I'm asking for your vote on April 5th.